Welcome to another episode of the Sausage Fest, that is the Bubble Podcast. My name is Adrian Bono, and I'm here with my co-hosts Ian Mount.
Glad to be here. We haven't determined what kind of sausage it is, but...
Cheese. That escalated quickly. Okay, great. Thank you, Ian. Good to see you. And my other co-host, Ignacio Nacho de los Reyes. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much.
No sausage joke?
No. I think that was too much.
Good for you. Today we're going to be talking about the Franconaissance. We're going to be explaining what that means. But apparently the youth suddenly really like Francisco Franco here in Spain, and we're going to be talking about why and what's going to happen with that in the future.
We'll also be talking about Juan Carlos, ex-King Juan Carlos's new autobiography. JC1, written actually by someone else with him, and how he's reinvented history so he has no blame for everything or anything.
Nice.
And going back to the Sausage Fest theme, we're going to be talking about the breakup of the century. Los Javis are no longer together, but their legacy continues.
That's very true. All right, let's do this. Episode 2, still not a woman inside. Repent, sinners, because the Franconaissance is upon us. And I don't know how we're going to get over this. Before we start discussing this, which I think is...
We should discuss what the
very important
means.
Correct. Let us just explain what Franconaissance means. And that is a portmanteau. I used a word. It's a combination... Yes. It's a combination of Franco, for El Generalissimo Francisco Franco, and Renaissance. Or the rebirth of Francisco Franco. And we're trying to make it happen, like fetch. And the reason why we're discussing this today
is a big use of we.
Oh no, it's the three of us. It's a we. Hey, don't
try to make the term.
Don't jump ship now, okay? It's gonna catch on. Just give it a few months.
Do with the term, not with the idea.
Look, Lindsay Lohan had a Lohanessence, and Brendan Fraser had a Fraseressence. I don't know. And now it's Franco's turn. Franco's turn. The Franconaissance. And this is something that's, we laugh about it, but it's happening all over Spain, and that is the fact that we're seeing a lot of young people who are moving towards the right, and when asked about what their idea is of what happened in Spain for 40 years under the dictatorship of Francisco Franco, they think it was kind of cool. And we have thoughts. Okay? So we're going to be discussing why young people feel this way, and is there any way that we can convince them that maybe things were not that cool? I have a lot of facts, and I would like to hear your thoughts on this. In November of 2025, it's 50 years since Franco died. Maybe we've already forgotten what happened in Spain during those years, but I would like to listen to what you have to say about this, because we are seeing Franco's name all over the place. It's in the media, it's on TV, it's on social media, it's on memes. Why are we hearing a lot about Francisco Franco when he's been dead for 50 years?
I mean, part of it, I think, is fairly obvious in the fact that it's been 50 years. And the government declared that there would be something like 50, 100 events, I forget the exact actual number, commemorating the return of democracy to Spain. I believe that's how it was framed last year when this was this was pushed out.
So you say 50 years of democracy, but we're not hearing from this just from the government. We're not hearing about this from Sanchez.
Some of that sort of reawakens if one group wants to talk about it, that's especially if that group has a sort of large media presence and some power in society, like the government does, then obviously people are going to be are going to hear about it, be moved to talk about it. I think what happens then is the discussion takes on its own life.
Right, but for example, we are suddenly hearing some cases of people on the right or the far right. So some people in the PP, Partido Popular, or some people at Vox, which is the far right. For example, there's mayor in Jaén, in a town in Jaén, who he decided to to print and distribute a calendar with Franco's face on it. And he was like, when people complained, he was like, get over it, you lost the war. Why are we having this conversation now? What is this sort of like vindication of Franco that is happening that I don't remember seeing maybe 10 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it is that the passage of time, people forget. How many people who were alive during the dictatorship are still around? Like every day there are fewer.
Well, this guy probably. The mayor.
I have no idea how old he is.
No, I'll Google it for you.
But no, I mean, I think with time puts a sort of soft lens on the past. People don't remember the horror. I mean, it's the same thing you see, I think, in Germany, where you have the AfD, and they talk about sort of German pride and things like this, and a vague sort of hearkening, if not back to National Socialism, but back to a strong state that can take on other states and things like that. Yeah. So I think the past does, I would say, does heal all wounds, because this is not healing a wound, but this does make the past seem less sharp.
Right. So there was a video that got circulated a few weeks ago. It was on La Sexta, which, full disclosure, La Sexta is a network that is very friendly to the current administration. And they were asking young people on the street what they thought about the Franco regime. And most people, at least from all of the people that they interviewed, except for, I think, one or two people, most of the young people they talked to, they all said, well, when you were living under Franco, there was like the streets were safe and the quality of life was better. Things were better. Yes, they made mistakes, but nobody's perfect. It's like I have a list of like quirky facts about living under Franco when Spain was a dictatorship. When Franco was alive, women couldn't open a bank account without a husband's or father's permission. That was the permiso marital. Divorce was banned. Contraception was illegal. Abortion was obviously completely criminalized. There was no freedom of speech. There was press censorship, I think, until 1966 or something. But it was still they still had to check. They still had to check everything that was published. Criticizing the regime, the church, or the army was forbidden. Books, movies, songs, theater, this all had to be approved by the Franco regime. All political parties were banned. Trade unions were banned. Public protests were banned. TV and radio were state-controlled. This all sounds super cool to me. Foreign news was filtered. You can speak Catalan or Basque or Galician in public events. Obviously, being part of the LGBT community was definitely criminalized.
It didn't exist.
There were it didn't exist, like in Iran. There were no elections, and there was no freedom of religion. So, why is it that kids feel this way? There's got to be an explanation. Do they know what they're talking about? Is it TikTok? Is it social media? What?
Is it Facebook? No.
Well, they don't use Facebook.
I know. I'll tell you, let me play devil's advocate for a second. Just hear me out.
Oh, this is going to be interesting.
Now, when you were a kid, if a news producer came up to you and said, we're doing a story about kids who like Franco, they think he's cool, which, like, no one believes that. Would you say, you'd be like, oh, no, I'm gonna play with this guy, and I'm gonna wind him up, and I'm gonna say things to get a rise out of him because I'm a 16-year-old, right? You might do that. And then the news program is not going to show all the responses that are boring and that say, I think Franco's an idiot. And then the third thing I'd say is, if you look at that article where that video is from, they said, if you look at the top of it, it says almost 20% of kids think life was better under Franco. Not 50 or 60 or whatever. Uh-huh. I think it was 18%, which I still find insane.
Yes.
But I'm of the belief that in any group, 10% of people are insane. So 18% is too much. But I think there's a little bit of, sensationalizing going on in saying this. That said, I do think there's a lot of discussion of it right now because of the political environment we're in, because it's been 50 years, because a lot of people grew up not even thinking about it, because some people's parents thought it was okay and they heard it from them.
Right.
Or some people's parents think it was terrible and they're rebellious kids, so they think the opposite.
But don't you think that there is definitely a decision to move to the right when it comes to people 18 to 25? I mean, we just saw...
Absolutely.
We saw, obviously, it's the thesis. So the thesis is, do we trust the thesis? We know that it's kind of like friendly to Pedro Sanchez, right? But I think the latest number said that men 18 to 25, around 35% of them wanted to vote Vox.
Right.
The far right.
Absolutely,
So there definitely is something there. There's something going on.
But I mean, I think at some level, those sort of votes come out of dissatisfaction.
Right.
No?
Yes.
That people aren't happy with their life is, so you vote against whoever's in power.
Right.
You pick the other side.
And that's...
So if the PP was in power, it would be sort of hardcore communism.
I totally agree with that. And let me give you some statistics and facts about the way, the kids aren't all right. I think that we all
Kids are
we
never all right.
we all
That's
agree.
the whole thing about being a kid.
True, but especially in Spain, things are tough.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
No, it's true. You're never going to buy a house. Just saying.
It sounds like their lives suck. That that's hard to say. It's hard to hear, but it's kind of true. I mean, right now youth unemployment is at 25%. So people under 25
who are not taking out those who are in school because
yes, yeah. You have 45% of people under 31 that still live with their parents, which
that's
is
really bad for your love life.
That's really bad for social life too. And yes, there is some conversation about how it can be cultural, because we usually get compared to Finland, Sweden, Denmark, where people leave their homes at 21.
Right.
And culturally we're more attached, right, to our parents here in Spain, in Southern Europe, like Italy too. Greece. It's not like in the Netherlands where
it has something to do with olive oil. Obviously,
maybe. Yeah. Like we don't do the whole dropping things like the dropping thing like in the Netherlands,
where they drop you off and say on your way home.
Yes, yeah. Which I'm a huge fan of, by the way. So yeah, like in the Netherlands, you're 13 years old, your parents drop you off in the middle of the woods, and they give you a GPS, and they're like, all right, good luck. And they just get in the car and leave, and you have to find your way home. It's great. I mean, I think it's a, you know what?
I mean, my parents didn't.
I'm going to make you a man out of this. I would do that if I were a parent. But
God, you're not a parent.
What? What are you talking about? I'd be a great parent. Shut up. So also, like from the people living with their parents, 25% say they can't save anything at all.
Right.
Which is really bad. These are the children of the 2008 crisis. So do you think that if we hear that 20% of them, they can't make ends meet, they no llego a fin de mes, I would be angry too.
Of course.
I would be pretty pissed.
I wouldn't want to pay a single tax. I'd want to totally tear down the system and start again. I'd be angry at the older generations for screwing me over.
Right.
Absolutely.
So imagine that the PP takes over, and are things going to change if the PP takes over, if Vox takes over? Because this is not something that just happens in this government. We've seen this for quite some time.
At least since the crisis.
Yes. Young people have been fucked for a while now. Mm-hmm. So what happens if whoever comes after also doesn't solve any of this?
Well, then it pushes it further and further to the extreme if no one fixes it.
What do we get? Albice? Do we get Albice Pérez?
Or you get the...
Podemos?
Well, yeah, but who radicalized Podemos or something? Yeah. No, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I don't know if you get them, but you get greater participation of them in a government. I mean, if you look at after... after the crisis sort of not ended, but the worst part of it passed, you had the 15M, whatever the groups came into power off of that. And have since sort of trailed off, but still have a part in the government.
But don't you think that something has changed, because I feel sometimes, and obviously this is anecdotal evidence, but talking to some young people at universities, etc., they don't even believe in democracy anymore. And this is why suddenly Franco is appealing to them, because it's like, well, you know what? Parliament doesn't work. They're not doing anything.
Right.
Maybe we just need someone who says, just like slams the table and says, fuck it, now you're going to do what I say, and things are going to work.
It's a system that's not responsive to the people, that the people who run for any party are picked by the leaders of the party. You don't vote for a person, you vote for the party.
Right.
And then the party may, just to take this current government as an example, but I don't think they're necessarily worse than anybody else who would come to power. They came in saying one thing, and then that they would never make a deal, say, with the separatist party. And now the separatist parties are basically the only way they can stay in power.
Right.
So there's a lot, people feel lied to, they feel that the vote doesn't matter, and that they have no chance of getting ahead economically. So to even jokingly harken back to a different time, is at least it lets you tweak the system and joke around.
Do you think that the current administration, do you think that the Sanchez government is doing anything to sort of like placate this angst and this need for things to work for any means necessary? Or do you think that it's making things worse?
Oh, I don't...
For example,
because they can't do very much.
They're about to remodel the Cuelgamuros, or the Valle de los Caídos, which is the sort of like, what do you call that? The monument that Franco...
Yeah, to himself.
Does that do anything? Does that help? Does that remind anyone of what happened here after the Civil War?
I think it's sort of something you have to do. I don't know if it's a massive change in the way people view the dictatorship or anything like that. That it becomes a museum that sort of teaches a fairly accurate version of history.
Yeah,
strikes me as a good idea. But I don't know. It's not like millions of people stream through it each year. It's as far as I know, it's not that popular.
It's kind of like out of the way.
It's a bit out of the way, and the giant cross is a little creepy.
It's a little creepy. I'll give you that. Unless you're like super religious or super like pro Franco,
right? And then you're back to the start.
Correct. Yeah. So, any closing words? What do you think that is going to happen in the near future, especially if we suddenly have an election?
Oh, I think, the young people, especially men, will probably vote on the right more than on the left. But there's also a surprising number of women under the age of 25 who vote for Vox, and the Pepe and whatnot.
It's not as high as the men, but yeah.
But yeah, it's higher than historically and internationally. One generally sees.
Yeah.
And I think there'll be a change in government. I don't know if it'll totally change things. I think a lot of projects are in the work to build more housing, so it might seem in 5 or 6 years that whatever the next government is doing something. But as always, it's probably not their doing. It's probably things that were done a decade before by the previous government.
Yeah. And you mentioned another thing, which is housing, but that's a whole different. We need like hours to discuss that.
Yeah, and that's the thing is you buy a house and then you become invested in building and creating a society and investing and improving things and paying taxes so your streets are clean and things like that.
Yeah, but how are you even going to do that if you cannot even leave your parents' house, let alone rent a room, which also is like 1,000 euros now in Madrid? It's just insanity.
I'll ask one question before we go. It's part of my devil's advocate thing, or just a question. Why is it called memoria histórica? Why isn't it just historia or memoria?
I think it's just an expression. I like Argentina also passed several laws about the dictatorship, and they were also called leyes de memoria histórica. So I think it's just the way you call them.
But what's the difference between that and history?
I guess none. It's just, I guess it's something that you call the bills in order to refer to like a dictatorship period. I could be wrong, but it's not the first time that it's not just Spain doing this.
No, I know. It always sounds very vaguely Orwellian to me.
Yeah.
It's like controlling your memory.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Department of Truth.
Yeah, the Department of Truth. But of course, if you had the Department of History, it would sound just as bad, or the Department of Memory.
Yeah.
So, maybe it's a way to get away from that, to slightly less creepy.
Right. Well, I guess we're going to have to wait and see what happens next time there's an election.
We'll call in or write or whatnot, and
then we have another dictator in the future. You never know.
Oh, I mean, tell about the term. I want to hear from our readers about the term.
Oh, okay. Well, but also if they want to talk about dictators, they can do that as well. Can you imagine
us to ask to be?
Can you imagine?
Can I be your next dictator? No, we're not. Look, we're not casting. We're not casting right now.
Can you imagine Franco living like in the 2020s using TikTok?
Buenos dias, haters.
Would the camera just be the top of his head?
He'd definitely say that. Those videos are so cringe. Yeah. One day we have to do like Franco core Instagram stories. Franco core. Do you know what core is?
He would get all the incel vote.
For sure. Yeah. Oh God, we're gonna get so canceled. I think we're
moving on.
I think we're done.
So, Ian, have you made your wish list for your holiday gifts this year?
Well, I thought I'd just stock up on weighty, heavy books about major Spanish historical figures, like maybe Juan Carlos I and Franco.
Quite a dense holiday for you, Ian. But yeah, there's a new book.
By each of them, not about each of them.
Well, who knows, at least one of them. They're connected, by the way, we can talk about it later. But Juan Carlos I, or emeritus queen, I hate that word, but basically means like former king who this is still a king. So technically he's the king, but he's not reigning anymore. He has a new book, the Reconciliación Memoirs. Is it really about reconciliation?
I mean, I'll be honest, I haven't read it yet. I've only seen the extracts, which are in the press in Spain, in part because it was first published oddly in French and not in Spanish. The Spanish version doesn't come until December. But from the extracts, I don't know if it's about reconciliation so much as a bit getting his revenge on people and getting his story out there.
So let's share some of the controversial quotes that we know are included in the book. As Ian said, like we haven't read it. It's not available in Spain yet. It's going to be in a few days. I mean, I think it was a great marketing campaign to launch it in France first. So absolutely. Everyone in Spain is talking about that, right? But let's have a look at some of the quotes. First of all, he's calling Franco an inspiring figure, basically, right? A visionary.
A visionary who had the best interests of Spain at heart, I believe, or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, let's remember that Juan Carlos was actually appointed by Franco as his successor, as his heir during the dictatorship.
Because there had been how many years without a king since 21 or 36?
The Third Republic in 31 till I think it was 69 when he was.
So his father was the one who never got to be king.
Exactly, Don Juan. Yeah, so Franco was technically ruling un reign, but without a formal king, right? But then he also talks about more personal issues like his love affair with Corina, that basically costed him the reign, right?
Absolutely. Well, yes. Being a bit too sloppy with his affairs, I think, more cost him than having them in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. And connecting that to money issues, by the way. But he calls that affair a bitter mistakes, and he's kind of like finding reconciliation with Queen Sofia as well. Like he praises
Sophie,
as he calls her. That has caused some controversy here in Spain as well, because like many people feel it probably comes too late. But that was another one of the famous quotes in these memoirs. What else? He also talks about when he decided to abdicate in favor of his son Felipe and move to Abu Dhabi a few years later. That was quite a moment for Spain.
Well, that was, I mean, it was, it felt overdue and at the same time sort of monumental. I remember we were talking about this for this program, and we were both sort of caught here by sort of unexpected by the abdication. I was in Catalonia, and I was standing in for the Financial Times as the correspondent for a few weeks during that period. I was in a small town, and I had to rush off to Barcelona to get internet service, among other things, and also to read up on who Juan Carlos was.
Were you the American journalist who knows nothing about?
Yeah, I mean, it's very funny because we were, it's the Financial Times, which is an English paper, and the regular correspondent was English, and everyone before after has been English. And then this happened when the one American who understands exactly zero about monarchy, so I really was coming in as an alien, talking to people about it, which I think was very helpful, but set me up for some sort of dumb questions like, what does a king do? And things like that.
I think many Spaniards ask themselves the same question, to be honest. And I feel like even a few years after he abdicated, now with a new generation, with Leonor as the princess, it feels like there's a fresh take on the monarchy.
Absolutely, yeah.
But the truth is that I think this book is also reopening certain wounds or debate about whether the monarchy still makes sense in a country like Spain. Because I feel like there's always been this back and forth between we kind of like the royal family, but at the same time, we're not really sure we love the monarchy the same way maybe the Dutch, the British,
right,
other European monarchies, right? I feel like there's that tension within the Spanish
I mean, I think this sort of interregnum of that 37 years, 38 years, people forgot about it a little bit. And the reappearance was sort of like, when they have those stories about so a child disappears and then 20 years later, this young adult comes back and claims to be that kid, and no one's quite sure if that's actually their son. I feel like Spain was like that with Juan Carlos. It was like, we have a king?
The protege.
We still do this? And I mean, what I found interesting about him is it's very clear that he and his family feel sort of shortchanged as far as the world of monarchy goes, because most of the monarchs in Europe are related.
If you're a monarch and your country is going through some economic turbulence,
right after the financial crisis, don't be on the 40,000 a day trip.
Yeah, I remember back then. I think it was in 2015 that the fees, how could we describe it? Kind of like the states, polling,
national poll
service, something like that. They asked the Spaniards about the monarchy and their feelings towards the king for the first time, and last time, by the way, because the king didn't approve, and that was the new king. So years later, we don't really know to what extent.
They started asking it again, and they asked it through about 2014 or 15. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that was the first and only time.
And it went through, you could saw it was going, no, and it went down. They're like, we don't want to ask this question anymore because we can't do anything about it.
Yeah, but I have good news for you.
They're starting it again?
There have been a few private polling companies doing that. But again, whenever they're commissioned by more conservative outlets, all of
positive and liberal outlets is negative.
Monarchy, and the other way around.
Right.
But we have run a very unofficial, unscientific, but very interesting poll with our subscribers and followers on Instagram about whether they think that whether Spaniards are still supporting the monarchy or whether they think they're over with it. We have very interesting insights. Again, this is not scientific, but I choose to believe. 55% of people who follow us on Instagram and participated think that the Spaniards still love the monarchs, and 45% think they're over it.
That's probably about right.
I think that's a good balance. But I think for many Spaniards, especially in the older generations, I think about my parents' generations, people who lived through Franco's dictatorship, but also the transition to democracy, they see Juan Carlos somehow as the guy who brought Spain to democracy.
Yeah, I mean, I think he sees himself as that too. I mean, judging from the book at the very least, because he says in the book, there's a scene where he says, I was the man who brought Spain democracy. Like it came in on a tray or in a little box. And I mean, it's true he didn't try to become a dictator, and it's true when there was an attempted coup, he didn't say to the military, "That's a good idea. I should be a dictator now." So, although whether he gave it to them, I'm not sure. That's the...
Yeah, and I think many people forgive maybe some of the slips, like all the affairs, all the tax scandals.
I think the older generation does. I think
years.
younger people are a bit bored with it.
That's the thing, right? Like, I think that's connected somehow with the previous segment when you talk about Franco and how younger generations are starting to seem to support those ideas. I feel that there's also this sentiment of like, why should we be ruled by a monarch if we're supposed to be a modern democracy?
I've often asked that.
Yeah, and as an American, someone who comes from obviously a very different system, do you think Spanish people is ready to have that debate? Because we have many issues right now.
It's very funny when I had to do my sort of what does it mean with Juan Carlos moving to the Emirates. I talked to Javis, who is a Spanish writer, very thoughtful, very smart guy, and he's very much a Republican. So one of the things we talked about was about that very question, whether Spain would be ready to get rid of the monarchy, and his take, and I think it's really interesting. And he's like, I used to say yes, absolutely, I'm a Republican, the monarchy is ridiculous. He's like, now I think like that it may very well may be like you're 55-45, one way or the other. And he said, I think the trouble and the pain caused by getting rid of it would be large, and the advantage, because the monarchy basically has no power to do anything except to smile, and like the current king is very well dressed, so providing a sort of, someone to look up to in the fashion sense is useful. But that getting rid of it would cause such drama in society, and the improvement in society or change in society would be so small that it's almost functionally or pragmatically, it's not worth it right now.
Yeah, I feel many people feel that way in the sense that we're going through so many changes as a country, a lot of instability, like in parliament, even we have our regional and nationalistic debates. We have issues with housing, we have issues with jobs. Like, I feel like even though many people would want a republic, many people are like,
it's a lot of work. I got other things right now.
Exactly. There are other priorities, but there are even countries, parties in parliament who are pro-republic, right? Like we have Podemos, even like Sumar is a coalition.
Esquerra Republicana Catalana.
Right, and they're supporting the government.
Yeah.
PSOE has very Republican roots as well, but has always been like pro-democratic parliamentary monarchy during the last 30 years or so. So I don't think that's a debate that's going to open anytime soon. The question is whether the next monarch, who is supposed to be Princess Leonor, is also going to bring a fresh take to the monarchy, whether she's becoming a more popular leader for younger generations as well.
No, I think so. But I mean, I read the same media that other people do. My kids aren't big followers of Leonor. They're not. I want to be just like her.
She's not an influencer?
She's not an influencer for them. I think she's an influencer for like 50-year-olds who think like, or 60-year-olds are like, look, the younger people. But yeah, no, I think she, like her father and her mother, is not considered offensive or scandalous. It hasn't done anything bad. Like, Juan Carlos is seen as being sort of wasted a lot of money, did a lot of stupid things, very self-indulgent. Or his daughters, who are seen as having like problems with their husbands and things like that. So I think as long as they don't cause problems, and the king is a fashion icon, I think it passes on well, and the next generation, she seems like a perfectly likable, smart, hardworking person.
And to be honest, we also enjoy the gossip of who's...
What would Ola do?
It's like all these scandals involving Victoria Federica, she's Infanta Elena's daughter. She's an influencer. Like she's...
Froilán.
Yeah, she's on TV all day long. Froilán, who is... he used to be a PR for a club in Madrid, I think, right? So yeah, I mean,
endless. I mean,
the workforce,
gossip and fashion.
The job market is tough, so you have
need to distract the people.
Your gigs. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Ian. I think, by the way, who would you cast as the next monarch of Spain if all of a sudden we have a new
a new series?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. There's a new season. I forget the reality show's name, but that Cristina Cifuentes, who was the governor of Madrid, who lost her job after stealing a lepote of oil of Olay. I don't know if she does really well in the series. Maybe she could at least try out for it. Because Sifu, I think, needs a job.
Thanks, you're not in charge of leading our country. But we're moving to pop culture, and we're talking about two monarchs of TV and movies, Los Javis.
Moving on from actual royalty to TV royalty, our hearts are broken this week. Los Javis. It's over.
Los Javis is El Javi and El Javi. They're not Los Javis anymore, at least from a romantic point of view. But even though they split up, they said they will continue working together. Thank God, because we're big Los Javis fan. And by the way, there's an unresolved Paquita Salas season.
Yes.
And closure for that one.
And I love Los Javis, but like that to me, that was the first thing I thought about. Sorry. But when I heard that they were breaking up, I was like, no.
Honestly, they're doing fine. We know that they're okay, that it was a friendly breakup. So I'm really worried about what's going to happen with their legacy.
Let's keep it that way, because I need Paquita Salas season 4.
How do you describe Paquita Salas? I mean, if you don't know what Paquita Salas is basically Spain.
Paquita Salas is España.
In a few seasons, right?
Paquita Salas is España.
It's giving us the memes. It's giving us the references.
The phrases. To me, Paquita Salas is, I think we're getting ahead of ourselves, but to me, Paquita Salas is the perfect thing that you have to watch if you want to understand Spain.
Absolutely. And that's thanks to Los Javis.
Yes.
They are the reason why we're talking about.
These guys have the finger on the pulse of Spain. I think that they're, to me, and when I said they're I guess, film and TV royalty, it's because, I mean, they are the industry power couple. Well, they still are on a business level, but they have broken up. And this has been kind of like an earthquake in the pop culture world of Spain, because these guys have created so much great content. They have created, as we said, Paquita Salas, but they've also created La Llamada. They've created La Mesías, which is insanely good.
My favorite.
They've created Veneno, which is the life of this sort of legendary trans woman in the 90s in Spain. So can you tell us a bit about who they are and how they got to where they are today? Because they're not just writers. They're actors, they're producers, they're everything.
I mean, they started as actors. Like one of them, he was starring in a teen soap opera.
Physical Química.
Also, by the way, worth watching it.
It's a little outdated, but it's you have to watch it if you want to understand Spanish television. Yeah.
But you have Javier Calvo and you have Javier Ambrosi, very talented men on their own. They met on Facebook. That was 2012.
He slid into Javi Calvo. Exactly. No, Javi Ambrosi. Was it?
I think so. I think it was Ambrosi.
One of them slid into each other's DMs and stuff like that.
Yeah. And the spark happened. And since they've been a professional and real-life couple, they've created... La Llamada was their first hit. Theater musical. Really, really good. I think it's...
Because it was a play first.
Yeah, and then it became a movie. They were very successful with that one. And they started their own production company, Suma Content. That has been really successful, not only in creating their own original productions like Veneno, La Mesías. They're now also producing other creators like Mariliendre.
Mariliendre is there too.
It's also produced.
We actually recommended it on the bubble. It's a great musical.
We're very
like dramedy.
We always recommend things that Los Javis do because honestly, I think
they're good.
They're really good. Their production standards are amazingly high, and also I think they really get Spanish society. To me, it reminds me a little bit of like Pedro Almodóvar back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, different generation, different style. I know some people compare them, but the sense that they do everything. If you watch La Mesías, it's very different to Veneno, which is very different, obviously, to Paquita Salas.
Yeah.
Now they're also filming a movie with Glenn Close and Guitarrica de la Fuente. They're very smart in the way they bring very different people together to create something magical. So obviously we can talk about all the gossip behind the breakup, but the truth is that I think this is a good excuse for people also to go back to their work and actually watch it because it's totally worth it.
And on top of that, they're also regular judges on Drag Race Spain.
They're judges everywhere. Like honestly, there was this moment where like you would turn on your TV.
They were everywhere.
Were there.
Yeah.
Operación Triunfo, Drag Race España. Were they on Tu Cara Me Suena or like Mask Singer?
I mean, these guys
shows,
were everywhere, and I think that they earned that place.
Yeah.
Because they are legends not just in Spain but also abroad. I mean, they were signed by creative artists in Hollywood. These guys have gone really far. Their content has been watched by millions of people in the U.S., Latin America. So yeah, we are definitely mourning the fact that they've broken up.
You know what I'm really worried about?
Do you still believe in love after this? Because
I'm really worried about the house. They built an amazing house, which was also very, very talked about. It's a beautiful home. What's going to happen with that house?
Well, I guess they're going to have to sell it and split the profits.
That to me is even more worrying than their actual cultural legacy.
I am worried about season 4 Paquita Salas. That's and Noemi was supposed to have a spin-off, right?
Yeah.
Noemi is one of the funniest characters ever in the history of Spanish television. She's also a character in Paquita Salas. She's this completely outlandish woman who, like, everything she says becomes a meme. And she was supposed to have a spin-off.
Yeah.
And now I don't know if we're going to have it.
The thing is that people demand a spin-off, people demand a new season. We do. Like, this is like, please, this is a plea to Los Javis.
Yeah.
Work it out. We need a new season of Paquita Salas. But the thing is that they're also doing like really interesting stuff. The new movie, La Bola Negra or La Boya Negra.
La Boya Negra, as Glenn Close would say. I love that nobody corrected her. And she just kept saying La Boya Negra.
Glenn Close. You know, Los Javis actually call the movie now like jokingly La Boya Negra.
Oh, you're kidding?
Every time they talk about it on social media. But it's inspired in one of Federico García Lorca's unfinished works.
Right.
And it follows different generations of LGBTQ people in Spain. So that's definitely going to be very interesting. And it's so different to anything they've done before.
Yeah. So what's the salseo here? What happened?
The reason why I know you're still watching is like, are we going to tell the truth about Los Javis breakup? And the truth is no. Because nobody.
First of all, do we know the truth?
We don't even know Los Javis.
Know the truth.
I mean, we wish we were invited to Los Javis insane parties in that house. By the way, it's like
if you guys are watching
a celebration. I'm a huge stalker on Instagram.
Oh,
so
I thought you were going to say like in real life. It's like I broke into the homes once.
You know, I mean,
it sounded like you were going there,
though, because like their parties are insane. Rosalia has been there. Ani Gartiburu.
Pedro Almodóvar.
Was that another Paulina Rubio joke?
Obviously.
The best drag queens go to their parties. I mean, they're really good at
their parties are epic
together. So when it comes to salseo, we don't really know what happens. Honestly, people are speculating about their love affairs. We don't really know. Do I care? Yes, because I love gossip.
I was supposed to pick a team. Are you Team Javi or Team Javi?
I mean, I'm Team Javi, definitely.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Nice. I wanted to see what you were gonna say. Like that was a good save. Yeah. That was a good save. Do you think that like I mean, how do you do this? Because I've always admired breaking up is
breaking our souls.
No, that's already broken. We have no souls. But how do you keep working with someone that you spent so much time with and that you were in a relationship with? Do you think it's possible to keep working, especially after a breakup? Because I think it's like one thing is to, like 5 years after we broke up, then now suddenly we start working together and we can be friends and that's fine. But do you think it's easy to continue working the way that they have been working all this time right after a breakup?
I don't think that's possible, but also I don't think it's possible to edit a TikTok video and they do masterpieces. So maybe they can. Maybe they're like mature enough that they can get away with that. The thing is that they both bring very different approaches to their work. It feels like Cowboy's a little bit more passionate, like
even the personalities are different.
And Ambrosio seems a little bit more insightful, like he's always reflecting.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know whether that translates into the set and the work. If you ask me, like, I would never work with an ex. I don't think that's possible. But again, they've shown that they can do things that mortals can't. I hope that they can actually keep working together because they're really good. And I'm also interested in what they can do separately, because that's going to be interesting to watch.
That's also going to be interesting. But we wish them the best. And we also wish them for season 4 of Paquita Salas.
Yeah, just selfishly, we're wishing them the best.
Totally. And since we are discussing dating apps, sorry, that was a weird pivot.
Okay.
But there's this thing that I really want to discuss with you. I don't know if you heard about this, but this is a good friend of mine, Argentine journalist, Denise Tempone. She came to me with this sort of like a juicy tip. It's not for us, but apparently the Mercado de San Miguel in downtown Madrid,
1 year
Plaza Mayor,
it's
it's
very expensive,
somewhat very expensive, full of tourists. It's somewhat become a cruising place for straight people.
So very expensive, but worth it for many people, I guess.
Apparently.
Yeah. The admission price is pretty.
Have you heard about this? Did you ever hear about this? I mean, apparently it's a new thing. I never heard of it. I'm gay, so like I'm definitely not gonna go. Not my market.
I'm
in many ways.
I don't do cruising, and I don't do markets either. So I don't know anything about it, but I definitely want to know more.
But so here's the thing. It's very interesting because it's the last place that I would expect. First of all, it's super crowded all the time and it's full of tourists.
Maybe that's why.
No, but it's like it's uncomfortably. Like, sorry, like
pause. Do straight people do cruising?
Of course. What do you think? Like it's just a gay thing? Yeah, of course.
Was that homophobic on my side?
Maybe a little bit. Yeah.
Do they do it before or after they get a caña and bocadillo de carne?
No. So this is based on my friend's experience, who said that she just went there. She sat on a stool at a bar, one of the many bars there. She ordered a glass of wine, and then this guy approached her and started talking to her, and they started talking about the fact that this is a place where people come to meet other people. And they ended up making out passionately.
You mean in daylight, in the middle of
the market? I don't know what time it was, but yes, in the middle of the market.
It's one of the busiest places in Madrid.
That's exactly what I mean.
It's noisy. It smells of food.
Fish.
Yeah, I didn't want to say, but yeah, it's basically seafood.
It's not the most comfortable place.
Nor romantic, nor even sensual. Like,
yeah, no.
I mean, who am I to judge? But
no, like, hey.
Some people have their own kinks, like
hey, but you should judge. So I'm very intrigued. I'm very intrigued by this.
Should we do a
because should we
watch?
Yes,
we
should.
Maybe that's something people like as well.
It's but I'm wondering because this is I mean, I would go to like a wine bar, right? Like La Biblioteca, that place in Salamanca, which is really nice. I would go to like kind of like a semi, dimly lit, semi-quiet place with people with lots of money who can buy me glasses of wine. That's what I would do.
To me, the whole concept of straight people doing cruising it feels like appropriating the culture.
Oh, it's cultural appropriation.
Yeah, but I mean, isn't it like dating, and isn't it just like mingling?
That's what I was gonna
Why
say.
do they call it cruising?
It's dating.
It's dating.
It's just going out and hooking up with some random stranger
With a tapa.
Right. Yes. And
Nice.
the smell of fish.
Yeah.
And a lot of tourists maybe staring. But at the end of the day, isn't this just like hookup culture and just going out and meeting people? Are we so desperate? Are we so lonely and tired of dating apps that we are turning to city landmarks and highly or like super busy destinations in an effort to connect with someone and make out?
Talk
And
about
have sex?
gentrification of Madrid.
Yes.
Honestly, there are other places. Madrid is beautiful. Go to Templo de Debord. Go to Retiro.
Can you make out in the maybe in the summer?
I mean,
Yeah, but
if
like
you can make out next to Pulpa la Gallega, like you can definitely make out in the outdoors.
true. But this is so weird. It's like do you remember like last year? I think it was last year when you had to go to Mercadona at 7 p.m.
Oh yeah, the pineapple thing.
Yes, and you had to. So if you wanted to hook up with someone, or maybe like if you were open to meeting people, you would go to Mercadona, any Mercadona, at 7 p.m. and then you would grab a pineapple and you would put it upside down in your shopping cart. This was a thing. Remember?
I see there's a movement here. There's something we should like.
Yes, I think that we're super
go deeper
lonely
with this.
and we're just finding new ways to go back to our original mating rituals.
Just going to Mercados.
I think
Yeah.
we're done. Yes.
Yeah.
I think we're done with Tinder. I think we're done with Grindr, Bumble, Hinge, whatever. Like I don't like. There's like a million dating apps out there. I think we're kind of done. We just want to go back to just talking
days.
to the good old days. Maybe the youths do have a point.
Maybe it's like
about the
you
good old
support
times.
Franco,
Yes.
and you go do cruising at Mercado San Miguel.
So yeah, well, I don't know if Franco would approve. Maybe you never know.
I mean, I have an idea. I really like this topic. I don't know anything about it, but why don't we ask our subscribers, people who can tell us what are the places in Spain?
Have you hooked up at the Mercado or something?
Yeah, exactly. Tell us, like,
Tell us the story.
Should we do like
Give us the juicy story.
a POV, like a point of view with one of our subscribers? Should we do again like a field trip and do it ourselves? Like, I don't know.
But you come from the you've worked in what?
I don't know where this.
I haven't said anything.
I come from where?
You have worked in the past at Silicon Valley. You have a background in social media. What do you think? I mean, there has been a sort of a reckoning with dating apps, and we've read articles in many, like the New York Times and El País, about how young people are suddenly trying to move away from using Tinder or Grindr, etc., and going back to the good old tradition of dating. Do you think that this is true? Is this happening? Are we? Well, I'm not a youth, but like, are young people really tired of swiping left, swiping right, trying to connect with random strangers online or on their phone, and moving back to meeting people face to face just to see what happens?
I think they are. I feel like it happens to all of us. Our attention spans are so limited right now. The same way we're used to just like scroll endlessly on Instagram or TikTok, same thing happens with people on dating apps. It's like they're always swiping because there's always the hope that something better will come up. And honestly, that's exhausting, because if you're really looking for love, that's never going to come. Like, if you keep thinking that something else will show up, it won't. Like, give people a chance, give them a chance to convince you that they're the right person for you. Maybe having a drink, that's the way to do it. I feel like we're getting super philosophical about it.
Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, I think it's partly true that people are exhausted, and the same way our attention span is limited with TV movies, TV series, movies, etc. Same thing happens with our love lives, especially in a big city like Madrid, where choices are endless.
I agree. So Who knew? Maybe the answer to your eternal happiness was right by the fish. And
well,
hey, there's a glass of wine.
For Prince Eric, it was. Little
True, the Little Mermaid.
But I mean, honestly, just go to a market, go to a bar, enjoy company there. I don't think you need to do cruising necessarily, but if you're into that,
hey, no judgment.
No judgment. Although we will definitely judge.
Shall we go?
For everything.
Shall we go this weekend?
I really want to go now. And
I haven't been to Mercado San Miguel in like a million years.
Can you imagine? Like we spot a couple of tourists just like hanging out, and we make up this story, and like we can post it on Instagram.
I don't think that should be. I don't think we should do that.
Well,
excellent. Tell us your stories. Tell us your stories about have you hooked up at the Mercado de San Miguel
or others
or any other mercados? Mercado Barceló.
Yeah, Valle Hermoso. We support all the local markets.
Yes.
Farmer markets are acceptable as well. Yeah.
Where's the farmers market here?
There are like many farmers marketing.
I don't think I've been to any.
In Madrid, yeah.
Okay, that's another thing.
It's a good way of like finding love, but also supporting local producers.
That is very true. And with that, we are going to come to a close before we're kicked out of the studio. That's it for us today at the Bubble Podcast. This is the end of episode 2. We hope you enjoyed it. We're going to be back in a couple of weeks with more. In the meantime, stay classy, San Diego. Oh, and still, no women.
In the meantime, don't forget to sign up for The Bubble for the newsletter at thebubble.com.
And follow us on social media. We are TheBubble.com on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Vine, and whenever you get your social media content.
See you in a couple of weeks.
See you in 2 weeks. Ciao. Queen wave.
Enough.